Live from the campus of Penn State University, this is PSN News. It is Monday, September 18th. We have all you need to know about mask updates at Mount Nittany Health, as well as updates on charges facing a local business owner.
We also have more changes on Cataride fare prices, along with weather, sports, and entertainment. Stay tuned.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Carly Knowlton.
And I'm Morgan Suppes.
The Shiloh Library in downtown State College is featuring best-selling authors in a virtual series this fall. Authors include John Stamos, Joy Jarjo, and Tiffany Aliche. While these talks are free to attend, you can also register ahead of each event. That way, you're able to submit questions to the series host. The series is funded by donations from the community, the Library Speakers Conservatorium, and other libraries across the country.
If you're 65 and older and use the Cataride bus to get around, you're going to be paying a bit more. Center Transportation Authority says the fares for their Cataride service will be increasing from $4 to $4.25 on October 1st. But this increase is only for seniors. CATA said that the CATA bus and Cataride fares will remain unchanged at $2.20.
Mount Nittany Health is bringing back mask requirements as COVID-19 cases have continued to rise. All physicians, clinicians, employees, volunteers, and students are required to stay masked while engaging with patients until September 29th. Center County has had 10 new COVID-19 related hospitalizations since September 2nd. Mount Nittany says that they will continue to monitor the situation and will make changes within its masking policy where appropriate.
The owner of State College's Little Szechuan restaurant pled guilty Friday to felony and misdemeanor tax charges. Yin Nagin said was accused of failing to pay more than $550,000 in sales tax between 2017 and 2022. Investigators say she also failed to pay more than $25,000 in personal and employer withholding taxes. Her attorney says she plans to pay a portion of the money back in restitution. She is scheduled to be sentenced November 21st. Temperatures are already starting to dip for the fall, but we can expect it to stay like this. Well, Mike Witowitz with Campus Weather Service has latest details in tonight's weather report. Take a look.
From the students of the Department of Meteorology and Atmospheric Science, here is your Penn State Campus Weather Service forecast.
Good evening, State College. Mike Witowitz here with your Penn State Campus Weather Service forecast. And it was quite a nice day today. Despite a few passing showers this afternoon, we saw temperatures right around seasonable levels, and we did see quite a few peaks of sunshine for us. As we take a look at your weather headlines today, though, that theme of dry weather is going to continue for us as we head throughout this week, with really some of September's finest weather shaping up for us, with temperatures right around seasonable levels. But of course, with a lot of people traveling to State College this weekend for Penn State football's whiteout game, unfortunately, we are tracking some rain for that game that could have an impact on your plans. I'm going to time that out for you in just a minute. But as we take a look at our almanac for today, as I mentioned, our temperatures were right around seasonable levels for us. We saw a high of 72 degrees today, which put us just 1 degree above the average of 71 degrees. Our lows are going to be right around average for us, too. Now, this is a big change from the weather that we saw yesterday. As you may remember, we saw a lot of cloud cover, rain just kind of put a damper on things, kept us quite chilly as well. But as I mentioned, with those peaks of sun today, we saw temperatures warm up much more significantly. We saw a 7-degree temperature difference compared to 24 hours ago here in State College, and that's really the case for much of Central PA. Anywhere from a 5 to 15-degree temperature increase from this day on yesterday, so definitely feeling a lot more comfortable out there, unless you're a fan of some of that cooler weather. Now, as we take a look at our upper air heights today, we can see that this trough that's been over the northeast that has been giving us some of the unsettled weather over the past couple days is going to begin to lift out of our region as we head into tomorrow, and even more so on Wednesday. And as we head through the middle to the end of the week, we're really going to see this ridge of high pressure take control of our weather and keep us very dry and very pleasant. Now, as you take a look at your future weather, we can just see that idea translated. Those showers clearing out of our region no really rain expected for us tonight. Just a few passing clouds for us as you wake up tomorrow morning, although most of those should stay situated to the northwest of the region. Now, as we head through the day on Tuesday, any clouds that we have left, most of those should actually clear out for us. And as we head into the day on Wednesday as well, looking at another beautiful day with mostly sunny skies for us. Now, as you take a look at your future radar, the reason for all this night's weather, as I mentioned, is this high pressure system right here. That's going to be lingering over our region as we head Tuesday into Wednesday, and then even Wednesday into Thursday. Just really setting up for us to have some comfortable temperatures, mostly sunny skies and some dry weather. And please enjoy that dry weather while we have it, because unfortunately, as we do head into this weekend, we are tracking this next system right here, this low pressure that you see right around the Carolina coast. We expect that to develop sometime around mid to late week, somewhere off the southeastern United States coast, and it might actually even be tropical in nature. Now, as this storm moves north, it will lose its tropical characteristics, but what it won't lose is all the moisture that the storm will contain, and this will move into much of Pennsylvania as we head through the day on Saturday and Sunday. Now, this still is several days out, so the timing of this is not certain right now, but as we head throughout the week, it's definitely going to be important that you keep checking back to your forecast, especially if you're plan on heading to the whiteout game this weekend, because this storm could have impacts on that game, and it's really going to be dependent on the timing of the storm and when we see rain begin on how much that will actually impact the football game this weekend. But as we take a look at your forecast over the next couple days, for tonight, we're going to see really a pleasant night for us, lows dipping down into the lower 50s for us with those clouds clearing as we head throughout the night. Winds should remain mostly calm out of the northwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. And a beautiful day is on tap for your Tuesday. We're looking at mostly sunny and very pleasant conditions with a high right around 70 degrees. Winds will stay out of the northwest for us at 5 to 10 miles per hour. And as we take a look at your 7-day forecast, as I mentioned, as we head throughout the middle of the week, we're going to keep things mostly dry for us with a bit of a warming trend as we head Wednesday into Thursday, with highs peaking out into the mid-70s. Friday, we're going to see those cloud covers begin to increase, but it isn't until the weekend that unfortunately as I mentioned, we do see that rain move in. Looking at that rain moving in as of now, sometime during the day on Saturday, lingering into your Sunday and Monday with temperatures slightly cooler as well. Well, that does it for your campus weather service. Have a great night.
Welcome back to PSN News. I'm Frankie Gallagher with your sports update. The Nittany Lions advanced to 3-0 this Saturday against Illinois, winning 30-13 in the Big Ten matchup. Drew Aller went 16 for 33, racking up 208 yards. Katron Allen, Nicholas Singleton, and Tyler Warren broke into the end zone for the Nittany Lions. The last time these teams competed was October 2021, where the two teams went into a historic 9 overtimes. The Nittany Lions now turn their heads towards Whiteout Week, where they face the Iowa Hawkeyes in what might be the most electric game of the year. Iowa is also 3-0 and is second in the Big Ten West Division. Penn State field hockey hosted Bucknell this weekend, scoring a 2-1 win. The team advances to 5-3 in their season, ranked 7th in the Big Ten. The Nittany Lions scored both goals in the third quarter of playing time and gave up only a single goal 5 minutes into the second quarter. Mackenzie Alisi and Fia Gladeau scored for the Nittany Lions. Their next matchup is hosting Syracuse on Sunday, September 24th at noon. Syracuse is 6-1 in their season and is ranked 5th in the ACC. They should prove to be a hard matchup for our Nittany Lions. Colorado defensive back and wide receiver Travis Hunter had to be hospitalized during a Saturday game against Colorado State. Hunter was illegally hit by a Colorado State defender while running for a pass. Head coach Deion Sanders stated he's going to be out for a few weeks. Hunter made headlines in Week 1 of college football while playing on both sides of the ball, totaling 152 snaps in Colorado's upset against TCU. The specifics of Hunter's injury have not been disclosed yet, but updates are still to come. That's all for your sports update. After the break, Juliana Tordo has the latest updates from entertainment. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to PSN News. I'm Juliana Tordo with your entertainment update. This Thursday, A Boogie What's a Hoodie will be taking over the Bryce Jordan Center with his Me vs. Myself college tour. The rapper is best known for his hit songs Swervin', Drowning, and Still Think About You. He will be joined by two up-and-coming hip-hop stars as openers. Tusi will be joining him, who is best known for his song Favorite Song. Callie is the other opener, who is best known for her TikTok hit Area Codes. Tickets are currently still available via Ticketmaster. But A Boogie What's a Hoodie isn't the only performer making an appearance this week at the BJC. This Friday, Thomas Rhett will be performing his home team tour. The country star is best known for his songs Die a Happy Man, Life Changes, and Crash and Burn. Rhett will be joined by country openers Cole Swindell and Nate Smith. Swindell is best known for his song She Had Me at Heads Carolina, and Smith is known for his song titled Whiskey on You. Tickets are also still currently available via Ticketmaster. Superstar rapper Drake is under pressure after revealing that he will be postponing his long-awaited album For All the Dogs. This comes after he promised fans the album would be out by September 22nd. Drake uploaded an Instagram story stating that he is struggling with touring at the same time as creating the album. Now the album release is pushed back to October 6th. But Drake has released a single featuring SZA titled Slime You Out to hold fans over until the album is finally here. That's all for your entertainment update. After the break, interview anchor Courtney Green will be speaking with Nick Chermel, the podcast host of All Cap, No Brim. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to PSN News. I'm Courtney Green. With me tonight is Nick Chermel, the podcast host of All Cap, No Brim. Thanks for coming in. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little crazy with these lights, not gonna lie, but
Yeah.
first time interview. Excited to be here.
Good. No, thanks
Yeah.
for coming. It's different than like your regular podcast setup.
Yeah.
But no, I'm glad to have you here. So I'm going to start with, where'd you get your hat from?
So actually, I got the hats. So I was doing the first episode with my best friend Blaine. Like we always talked about, we're gonna make this podcast. I'm like, all right. We finally go to make it, and I'm like, dude, I remember you said that you had these hats. So we got to find them. Then the name just came to me like, All Cap, No Brim. We got to go with it. So
I love it.
That's where
No,
we got
that's
the
great.
name.
Okay, so for the people that don't know, can you tell us a little bit about your podcast, like in your own words?
like my podcast is basically, it's a sobriety and wellness podcast, but I don't want it to just be for people who are sober or trying to get sober. Like I really want to make it like an inclusive podcast where it's like, maybe you've been drinking a lot or like using, drugs for a lot of time in a row. I want to be like that person to go to where like, yo, you can just go have a good time. You don't have to drink or use or anything like that. So I just bring guests on who actually aren't sober. I'm sober, and then we talk about like middle ground.
I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
So on one of your episodes, you had a quote that making a podcast made you nervous and uncomfortable because, different people that you already knew were going to see it.
Yeah.
How has like your mindset shifted since that first episode to now when you have like 5 done and then a couple more in the bank about to come out?
Yeah, so like being nervous about what people are going to think, like this is sort of like one of my big sayings that I go with is like do something that scares you is something that I live by. And since I've made that episode, like I went out and I did stand-up comedy. I'm like doing this interview on this show. Like this, I might not feel like it, but like it makes me nervous. Doing the stand-up makes me nervous. Like I find meaning in my own life when I just like do something that scares me. An actionable thing, go out and do it.
That's great. Is that something new to you that you've recently started doing, or have you always kind of had that mindset, or was it like a shift?
I would say like, so I actually went abroad. And I was like gone for an entire year. And like when you get out of your own social circles and you can really like sort of see that like life, like it's your life,
Yeah.
You're going to die one day.
Yeah.
If you don't live life on your term, like whose life are you really living? I really got to like see that while I was gone. And then when I came home, I was like, I don't care what people think. Like if you want to make fun of me for being sober or having a sober podcast, I don't care about that. I'm going to do this because I know it's a good thing.
Yeah. No, that's great.
There you go.
You said you had people reaching out to you about the podcast. What was like the most kind of like most memorable way that someone said something to you that made you feel like you were definitely taking a step in the right direction? Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, like it's actually, I've had people who I haven't spoken to in like literally years, like even some friends from middle school who I haven't talked to since we were like 12-year-old kids. They'll reach out to me and they're like, Nick, like because of your podcast, I'm reevaluating like how I live my life. Or it could even just be something small, like because you went and did a podcast, I might go do my podcast now.
Yeah.
You know, it's like little things like that where I just want to like show people like you can literally do all these things that you're like you tell yourself you can't do.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's really cool. When you say one day at a time, like in your podcast, what does that mean for you?
All right, I like that you bring this up because like one day at a time is basically like the foundation of my sobriety and the foundation of basically everything that I do now because, you know, be getting sober young, a lot of people like will not understand this, but like doing it for the rest of your life, right? I'm only 20 when I get sober. How am I going to live 60 years sober, day at a time?
Yeah.
Just tell yourself when you're about to pick up a bottle or use that drug, if you tell yourself, I'm getting until I go to bed tonight, you know, you made it that one day. It might be a struggle, but through that struggle, you're going to find some things out about yourself. You're going to find some meaning and hopefully some happiness along the way.
Yeah. So what else are you working on outside of your podcast and now your stand-up comedy that you're doing?
Yeah. I got a little bit of an app going on. So while I was abroad, I met some of these tech guys. And these tech guys, like I was friends with one of them and they always wanted to make an app. They couldn't like market it. And I'm like, yo, I got a good idea.
Yeah.
And basically the app is just about like, I want to create like a social environment for people in sobriety. I don't want it to be focused on just matching people. Like I want to make it where it's like, okay, 5 weeks in a row I've been living like this. What's something that I can do where it's a completely different vibe? Obviously, it's going to be based on sobriety. You don't have to be sober for it. And so it's just like a little hobby project or something of mine, you know, to bring it all full circle, I think.
Yeah, no, that's great. Another quote that really stood out to me was when you said you wouldn't wish addiction on your worst enemy. Do you want to expand on that?
Yeah, because, you know, addiction, it's so hard because now like I'm living like life how I want to live it. You know, I'm living the life that I feel like I was put here to do and everything. And so in that, you can forget how bad it was. You know, you can forget the lows. But it's important to remember those lows. And the reason why I said I wouldn't wish that on somebody is because not only do you experience those lows, but you can forget about those lows. And that forgetting can make you go back. You know, that when you relapse, it's a lot of the times because you forgot about it, you know?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, it's not going to be that bad this time, and you go back. And so it's you don't win by getting sober, right? It's a lifelong process, but it gives you a chance. You know, life doesn't become easy, it becomes manageable.
Yeah.
And through sobriety, you have a chance, you know?
No, that's great. What was your favorite experience studying abroad and what did you bring back to Penn State? I know that was a terrible pivot, but like going back to like something a little bit softer.
It goes back with like how I made the app, right? Like how I'm making this app is because I met those guys while I was abroad. I mean, my first time in my first internship working abroad was like the Queen died. So I had to be out there like, you know.
You were in London?
I was in London, right. Yeah, I didn't say that, but.
Yeah.
I was in London. I was working with the soldiers when the Queen died. Just crazy things like that. I went to Vietnam. I went to like Buddhist temples.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Just a lot of new experiences.
Yeah, and it like really like maybe sobriety can do it for you, and I think it can for a lot of people. But I think it's so important stepping out of your own social circles that you're usually in, and just going out and trying something new that makes you like really, really scared.
Yeah.
Really scared, because that's the thing inside of you that you want to do. If it doesn't scare you enough, like it's probably not what you're meant to do.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad to talk to you. Thank you so much for coming on. I loved your podcast. Well, that's all the time we have for tonight. Thank you so much for sharing more on your podcast and experiences. Up next, Carly and Morgan will bring you the latest news from across the nation. Stay tuned.
Hunter Biden was indicted on Thursday for federal firearm charges. Hunter is also accused of lying about his drug use back in 2018. His defense attorney argues that he didn't violate the law and says that he is still protected by an immunity provision that was part of the plea deal. He's also under investigation for his business dealings that alleges he lied on a form that is required for every gun purchase. If convicted, the counts are punishable by up to 25 years in prison.
An amendment has been made to an order by New Mexico's governor that banned the right to carry a firearm amid legal pushback. The new order now only bans the carrying of firearms, open and concealed, in public parks and playgrounds. The order came just a week after Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham declared a 30-day suspension on the open and concealed carry of firearms in the state due to rampant gun violence. The new changes come after public protests and a federal judge blocking part of the order.
Arizona's easternmost border county sheriff asked the state and federal officials for help last week with the sudden daily release of more than 100 migrants seeking asylum in the U.S. Douglas Mayor Donald Hughes said they don't have any resources to house these migrants. Customs and Border Protection have been overwhelmed with the new arrivals and said they're working according to their standard process plan. That way, they can get people out of the detention facilities quickly before they get too overcrowded.
Impeached Texas Republican Attorney General Ken Paxton has been acquitted on all charges. The trial came after fellow Republicans impeached Paxton after years of scandal and corruption allegations. They included bribery and abuse of public trust. Despite being highly acclaimed by far-right conservatives, the trial included testimonies from Paxton's former friends describing him as a crook. After deliberation, Paxton was acquitted on all 16 charges and has been reinstated as the Texas Attorney General. That concludes our show tonight at PSN News.
Be sure to check us out on Twitter and Facebook at PSN News, on Instagram at Penn State Network News, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/PSN News.
Have a good night and stay safe, Penn State.